Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Appreciate talking to Arkansas Game and Fish Wildlife Officer Audrey Hunter. She's the National Wild Turkey Federation's 2022 Officer of the Year. First female to do that since they started doing that award in 2000. And speaking of 2000, we can talk a little bit right now about one of my favorite subjects in Tennessee. And when we talk Tennessee Outdoors, we talk about the elk quota hunt. And we have completed that. People have been notified. And as I told Brad Miller one more time, that my folder continues to get bigger. Because I didn't get selected, but that's okay. I'm assuming it went well. So we have Brad Miller on with us again. He's the TWRA Elk Program Coordinator. And Brad, before we start, I recommend people go to the TWRA website. That's wildlife.org. Click on elk and watch that video of that guy trying to kill an elk with a bow. It was a pretty cool. There's no way I could do what 2 miles in and 2 miles out and have that that elk in bow range. So I mean, it's pretty amazing the job you have. So talk about the application period. Was it successful? And I know we've got some changes that we made. What? How many permits? 14 total permits. Is that right?
Yeah. So we do 7 archery, and then we'll have a youth permit. So that's 8, and then we have 6 gun permits, or actually any weapon permit.
Yeah, archery, gun, muzzleloader, whatever it might be. Yeah. Okay.
And then a 7th any weapon permit that's part of the raffle that's
right.
In the summertime.
Yeah.
Right.
So we won't know that till the summertime, but at the same time, let's talk about this because you can go on, folks. They have that cam is up, right? Isn't it, Brad? That you can watch.
Yeah. Right. So if you go to our elk page on our website, we've got a link to go to our live elk cam up at the elk viewing tower.
Yes.
So if you're not able to get over to East Tennessee to see the elk in person, you can jump on that. And there's a lot of elk that use that. But also, you were talking about the videos. There's just a lot of interesting info on our elk
webpage.
Is. So just search for elk in Tennessee and it'll bring up our webpage and just click on that. Yeah.
Of course, it talks about the history. I really like the folks, and I'm really interested in this because I've kept up with it since 2009. That was the first elk hunt with 5 tags available, I think. But we've talked about this the turn of the century, just about about elk in Tennessee, and then of course elk in Arkansas and elk in Kentucky. All these others. I really like that one, the question and answers. It's really interesting how you determine these things, and our elk. The herd is doing good shape, right, Brad? Talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a success story. If you look at the historical range of elk in the eastern U.S., I mean, they were coming from the Great Lakes all the way down to, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, North Georgia, and filling that whole part of the eastern U.S. So, we had elk until the 1850s or so, when the last one was probably killed. And, as you mentioned, in 2000, the restoration project began, and we've seen a slow population increase. We've turned out about 200 elk, and we're up to, 450, 500 elk. Not sure exact numbers, but just a steady growth.
And it's in an area that is perfectly adapted for elk, but not for humans. It's a tough, rugged area, right? I mean,
it's the Cumberland Mountains, and they call them mountains.
They
for
do
a reason.
call them mountains. Yeah, I mean, whether you go to Big South Fork, up in that area, all the way down through the counties of Anderson, Campbell, Claiborne, Morgan, and Scott counties, and for those flatlanders over in West Tennessee, folks, you really need to get into this because it's really a cool thing the TWRA does. I've never heard anything negative about the way Brad and his group handle this because it's a once in a lifetime hunt, And if you just watch that video of that young man with a bow trying to kill that elk and what he had to do it, it's not an easy thing. But the interest is still there, Brad. I know applications. I was looking at it. He don't have the figures yet, but I know 2020, 9,500, 2019, 8,200, 2018, 8,400. So, I mean, there's a general consensus here of almost 10,000 people want to do this. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. We bounce around between 8,000 and 10,000. It was a little bit different this year. Our timing was a little bit earlier. We're doing the application a little earlier to give these folks more time to prepare and scout and get gear together, maybe even get in shape, talking about those mountains. So, a lot of interest. I had Zoom calls with the archery hunters early this week.
You did? Okay, yeah.
And then the next night did the Zoom call with the gun hunters. So there's 14 really excited folks that are ready to get after it.
How excited are they? I mean, you get to make that call. I mean, it's like getting a presidential call here, man. Brad Miller's calling you. You know he's not calling you to tell you something about your gun's out of shape or something like that. That's got to be a cool part of your job to tell these people that.
Yeah, I joke around and say it's kind of my Christmas morning. It's really fun to give people really good news. About half of them think you're kidding.
They do. I figured that.
Their leg,
yes.
But it's great. It's a lot of fun, and folks are definitely excited.
And of course, our elk came from Elk Island National Park, which I have been to, believe it or not. But I wasn't with the guys when they brought them down here in the trailers and everything back in December of 2000, bringing them into the North Cumberland Wildlife Management. And that area has proven successful. Your webcam is located, like on a field-like thing, isn't it? I mean...
Right, yeah. So our elk viewing tower overlooks about a 36-acre field, and the camera is located in that same field. And
that's in what county is that camera in? Where is that?
That's Campbell.
That's in Campbell County.
Yep.
And so you can actually see some of these big critters come out there. Now, are they getting their antlers now? I mean, is it time, is it like a deer when they lose their antlers and they get their antlers back? Is April one of those times where the antlers are coming back?
Yeah, it's funny. Elk, it seems, drop a little bit later than whitetail.
Okay, all right.
But they do grow really, really fast. So I saw a bull Tuesday that still had antlers. He was like a 5x5, but then we've seen some other bulls that already have 6 or 8 inches of new growth.
Oh.
So it just kind of varies by the individual a little bit.
And the health of the herd, we don't worry, CWD and things like that. We hear from our deer. That's we keep track of all these different kind of critters. And I know last year, success-wise of the hunters last year, you remember how many elk were killed last year during the hunt? Yeah,
we had a really, really good year.
I thought you did.
We had our 7 gun hunters were all successful. Our youth hunter was successful.
Oh, man, yeah.
And then 4 of the 7 archery hunters were successful, and then 2 of the ones that were not missed a bull.
So they did see the bull. Yeah.
Yeah. They just one guy had a little equipment malfunction and missed, and the other guy just flat out, shot over one.
And to give you a youth to kill one of those rascals, I mean, because we're not talking about a scrawny little animal here. These things can grow up to over 1,000 pounds, right? I mean, pushing.
When I send information to all the elk hunters and I talk to them about field dressing and dealing with an elk that's been harvested, I tell them they need to think horse size, not deer size.
Horse size.
you just don't drag elk like you do a deer.
No. And a 5x5 or 6x6, and I know you guys keep records, but what are you anticipating for this? Because we hunt them in October? I mean September, October. When is the hunt?
Yeah, late September into October. Last year I think part of our success was the weather. We had a cool couple of 3 weeks, and I'm just hoping, fingers crossed for another little cool spell this fall.
Well, we appreciate you, Brad, filling us in on this, and Again, folks, go to tnwildlife.org and click on the elk part because there's some really great information about that. Now, I know 150 years ago when elk was everywhere and Davy Crockett and all the other ones were coming through here killing elk and bear and all those different kind of things. A success story is we always like to toot that. And I know before we let you go, I mean, you guys aren't in this alone. I mean, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, I know, is part of this. Campbell County folks are really good for you guys, aren't they? And Tennessee Wildlife Federation, UT. So this is a combined effort, right?
Oh, definitely. A lot of great partners, and big shout out to all the folks that have helped over the years.
Well, shout out to you, Brad, for being with us, and we'll probably talk to you maybe in the fall. Okay, man?
Sounds good. We'll do a little season wrap up.
All right, keep looking for that one that's kind of turned down at the edge right there when I send it back in. Oh, we don't do that anymore, do we? That's right. Yeah. All right, Brad. Have a great weekend. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Brad Miller, TWR Elk Program Coordinator. I always like to talk elk. Oh, they are huge, magnificent animals. I know I was privileged to be at the very first Arkansas elk hunt over in the Jasper area, and people by probably the thousands travel over to that area of Arkansas, north central Arkansas, and listen to them bugle and things along that line. But anyway, all right, let's take a break. I'm going to come wrap this baby up. Shelby McCall is trying to keep me straight as I can be, but we'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.